Welcome to your Brooked. It's the Premier League preview show. We're here with my co-host James. Good to see you.
Good evening, John.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you this evening?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Let's get down to some Premier League talk. Let's have a look at what happened last week. Here's James to give you a rundown.
Thanks, George. Leicester City moved 5 points clear of the chasing pack with a thumping 3-1 win at the stunned Etihad Stadium, with Robert Hoof seemingly heading for a hat-trick of Premier League titles. The fact he's already won 2 being the most alarming stat of this ridiculous season. Spurs are now Leicester's closest rival, following a routine 1-0 win against an impotent Watford side. At the other end of the table, Villa gave an indication there's legs to an annual Premier League great escape yet, after they beat fellow strugglers Norwich, who slipped into the bottom 3. Replacing them in the safe haven of 17th was Newcastle, who crawled to a 1-0 win against the West Brom side, who specialise in participating in games which can only be described as instantly forgettable. Elsewhere, there were wins for Everton, Arsenal and a Fraser Forster-inspired Southampton, who last conceded a goal in March 1973. Liverpool ensured their status as everybody's favourite team except their own fans, as Simon Mignolet continued to show that he's only in the team because Adam Bogdan literally conceded a goal direct from a corner. Here's to the next 5 years, Simon? A 1-1 draw between Palace and Swansea and a predictable stalemate at Stamford Bridge between Mourinho's sides past and future concludes our roundup.
Every week here we'll be taking 4 of the big games of the weekend, and I'll be taking the home teams. James will look at the away teams, and so here we go. So how do you see Arsenal-Leicester going?
Well, I mean, it's a massive game, isn't it? There's no denying that. It's
huge.
It's absolutely enormous. I mean, a couple of weeks ago you'd have said Arsenal had to be favourites for the title, and you know they lost a couple of games, had a few bad results, and Leicester have just gone from strength to strength. So, I mean, looking on the back of last weekend's results, you've got to say Leicester are favourites for the title at the moment.
But Arsenal's home form.
I know
as well. You
been recovering some stats.
Yeah,
on this,
we've got a few stats on it.
So far away. There.
So they've only lost 2 games all season at the Emirates. Chelsea and West Ham have only teams to beat them, and they've only conceded 6 goals at the Emirates all season, so it's going to be tricky for Leicester.
Well, I think Leicester will certainly decide to match that, having won 4 of the last 6 away games and scored 11 goals in the process. They're also the joint second top scorers in the league. Have a guess who they're joint top with?
City.
Manchester City, exactly. So having popped those 2 things together, it looks like it's all set to be a really, really good game. I mean, it is a massive game. If Leicester can win this, then they'll be 8 points clear. 8 points clear of Arsenal, and depending on the Tottenham result, which is
12 games, is it?
12 games to go, 8 points clear. I mean, that looks insurmountable, doesn't it?
It does.
But
this is Joachim leading the breakout now for Leicester. There are plenty in it. He's got Mills steaming over his shoulder. Uses him as the decoy. Goes alone. It's just a brilliant goal by Julian Joachim.
Anyway, each week we'll look at, obviously I'm taking the away team today, George has got Arsenal, the home team, and let's look at the key men who we think will be absolutely pivotal to deciding the outcome of the game. Who have you gone for today?
Well, I've gone for Mesut Ozil. You know,
I thought you might.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 goals, 16 assists.
Wonderful.
You know, he's having a real good season, his best ever. in an Arsenal shirt.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, people questioned him when he first came, didn't they?
I mean, yeah, I did.
And rightly so. I mean, rightly so. He was a hefty price tag, and he really did nothing to justify that. But I agree, this season he's really come good, and he will be pitted against my key man here, which may surprise a few of the viewers actually.
Yes.
Just out of interest, I'll ask you who you would have gone for the Leicester key man today.
Well, I'd have gone for Mahrez.
I thought you might have said that, and I thought about going for Mahrez, but I've actually gone for Kante, the defensive midfielder, just because of what he gives this team. This team's based on solid defence and building that quickly from the back, and Kante patrols that defence like some of the best around. I mean, I'm used to watching Mascherano, now Lucas, these great players in this position, and Kante is up there with them, and you can see him getting a big move at the end of the season, because his form has been absolutely sensational.
I think up there with most of the Leicester side, really.
Exactly. I mean, teams will be looking at them and saying, you know, who can we buy from here? And Leicester must be thinking now, how can we keep hold of these players? But anyway, I touched on it there, and we'll be looking at a key battle for these 4 games, and I'll be selecting the key battle this week. And as I mentioned there, it's Kante against Ozil. Ozil operates in that pocket of space where Kante aims to shield the defence, and if he can shut him down in there, he shuts a lot of Arsenal's creativity down.
Of course.
If Ozil can't play, and they've got other creative players, but Ozil is at the centre of that, especially at the moment. If Kante can get around him and shut him down, there's no reason why Leicester can't win this game.
Well, here's Peter Unlove. There's he headed. 2 or 3 goes around the outside. Oh, and in!
And finally, I'll just ask you for a prediction on the score. Actually, we'll be doing a table throughout the series where we predict home or away wins or draw, and we'll tot up the results, and the winner will get a prize at the end.
Well, I look forward to what that'll be.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for 2 each.
2 apiece.
Yeah.
Oh, good game.
I think it'll be a scoring game. Lots of goals. And,
2 attacking sides, isn't it? Really.
It is,
I'm also going for a draw. I'm going for a 1-1.
fair enough.
So 2 draws. So we'll see how that one plays out.
Daly and Atkinson, he's done well. He's got Saunders away to his right, but he's got a bit of a run on here, Atkinson. It's a great run. Now, what about the finish? Oh, that's not bad either. A masterpiece from Daly and Atkinson.
So that's likely to be one of the games of the weekend, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it will.
Crucial tie at the top of the table.
Real big game.
Another big one is Chelsea-Newcastle.
Yeah, always a
good tie at Stamford Bridge.
Stamford Bridge. I mean, Newcastle have had a few wins there, haven't they, over the past?
Well, they've won one of the last 5 games there, which isn't too bad, you know, considering Chelsea's home record in recent years under Mourinho. So it's by no means a bad record.
It has recently declined, though. I think they've drawn the last 3 at Stamford Bridge, although they have won the last 3, like you say, against Newcastle.
And Newcastle playing all right at the moment, actually.
Yeah, Newcastle are a good side, good players, I think, in there. But for some reason, it never really clicks, does it? You know,
something always happens, something always goes wrong.
Yeah, and then they've always got that thing with Mike Ashley as well.
But having said that, Mike has been splashing the cash this
really
time.
Has. I mean, I think they were the
top spenders,
weren't they?
One of those signings is my key man today, Andros Townsend, £12 million signing from Spurs. You know, a hefty price tag, because surprisingly he hadn't started a league game this season.
Really?
Quite surprising for Spurs, but 12 million, quite a lot, but young, English, he's only 24.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to pay that kind of money for English players, aren't you?
Premium, isn't it? Absolutely premium. And he's got pace, he's direct, and I think he's somebody that Newcastle really, he's a good player for Newcastle, a team like Newcastle.
They've got Shelby as well, haven't they, just recently?
Shelby's a very good player, and I did consider him as well, but Townsend was man of the match last week when they won at West Brom. Had a very good game apparently, so I think if he has a good game, he'll really stand Newcastle in good stead to do well. Or he has to have a good game for them to do well.
Yeah.
Well, that was aimed towards Steve Stone and easily cleared by Ian Hart. Carboni.
Oh, what about that from Benito Carboni?
Yeah.
Who's your key man?
Well, I've gone for Oscar for Chelsea. Bit of a surprise for you.
Yeah,
maybe,
no,
but
yeah.
I think he's just on form a little bit. You know, he got that hat trick in the FA Cup. I know it was MK Dons, wasn't it? But still, and you know, he's a tricky player in the middle. So he starts a lot of the playoff, I think, and he can really be a.
I think Chelsea
really
and Stamford Bridge has been a little accusation of him being a little bit boring, a bit like United at Old Trafford. And if because he hasn't played well this season, Hazard has been awful. So
Hazard's been. He's just scored the one goal.
Exactly,
This season,
and well, Oscar scored what, 4?
Yeah.
And 3 was a hat trick. So they need creative players like that to fire if they're gonna succeed.
Well, it was hard to pick a key man really because none of them are firing.
Well, I thought you would have gone for Diego Costa, who's involved in my key battle at Stamford Bridge this weekend.
It's a real key battle.
A key battle with Fabrizio Colacini, the Newcastle skipper. I think Costa can really rile defenders, can't he?
Oh yeah.
He can get about them, and if he wants, he'll stick a boot in. He's not afraid to, bite them, pinch them, not bite them. But he'll do all manner of things. He's not Suarez. No, he'll do all manner of things to get a leg up. And Colacini is someone who's experienced enough to deal with a man like that. And I think if he deals with him well, stems the threat of Costa, then Newcastle will stand a good chance. Colacini's kept all his clean sheets this season have been away from home. So he marshals defence very, very well.
He does, but he has that tendency to have a bit of a lapse.
He does, and he if he has a nightmare as well, the whole defence will tend to fall apart a little bit for Newcastle. Could go either way, this one, I reckon.
Yep.
So what do you think? What's your score prediction?
Well, I can only see it going one way actually. It's got to be Chelsea. 2-0 I'm going to go for.
I'm going for a 1-0. I think it'll be tight, and I think Newcastle will step the stall out, but I think they will break them down. 1-0 Chelsea win.
How does it feel?